I'm the ukulele man. Come and listen if you can. The children love to hear me play. They even make their mother stay and stand and listen all the day to the ukulele man.
George Formby was an artist that influenced George and John as well.
George Formby, he started off in music hall, going around all the different theatres, and he was a regular at the Empire Theatre in Liverpool right through the 1940s and the 50s. He'd also as well made a lot of comedic films, comedy films, which just brought George Formby once again to the mainstream public going to watch his films, because cinema at the time was the big place to go. It was either dance halls or cinemas where you'd go to entertain and to just go out. So George Formby was one of the top paid entertainers in England in the 1940s and 50s. The Beatles themselves, being young children, they would have been interested in George Formby because George Formby was one of their idols. Also as well with the ukulele, playing the ukulele as well. They all started playing the ukulele. Like John's famous dad, his mum Julia, taught him how to play the ukulele. And then when John met Paul, Paul realised that John was playing banjo chords on the guitar. So it was Paul that said, how come you playing banjo chords? And he said, because I learnt on the ukulele. My mum taught me how to play it. So the George Formby influence has always been with the Beatles. The Liverpool connection with George Formby was that his mum lived in the Sefton Park area of Liverpool, and George Formby had a mistress who lived a couple of houses away from his mum. So George Formby used to visit Liverpool on a regular basis. And when George died, he died in Preston of a heart attack, but his mum organised a funeral in Liverpool, and the funeral took place in Egbert in the Roman Catholic Church of St Charles Bromco. Hundreds of thousands of people came out to watch the cortege for George Formby's funeral. There's a lot of photograph information on the internet. If you go onto the internet, you'll see all the photographs. But unfortunately for the Beatles, they had an afternoon gig in the Cavern the same time as the funeral. So even though George was one of their biggest idols, the Beatles couldn't go to see the cortege because they was actually at a gig in the Cavern the same afternoon. And I think they've mentioned that in the past in different interviews and documentaries when they talk about George Formby personally.
That I feel lonely, every time that I feel blue, here's a little song you'll hear me softly singing. It's all about you. You are always on my mind, dear, no matter where I'm up to stray. There's not another girl in all this great big world, that's why I want to say, baby, baby, you're my sweetheart. you're my sweetheart. Turned out nice again, hasn't it?